Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to Beyond Breaking Barriers. I'm your host, Piper Carter. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Peace, y'all. Just want to say peace to everybody. I'm your host, Piper Carter. You're tuning in right now with Beyond Breaking Barriers. We're going to have a great conversation about women in hip hop again. There's been a lot going on for the last couple of days, and we do have a scheduled conversation, and I want to talk about current events, if you will, just for like a hot second. So as people come in, please remember to like, share, subscribe, ask other people to come on in here and join the conversation with us. Remember to smash that like button. Peace to everyone. Peace to all the Black Power Media family. Peace to the chat. Peace to everyone that loves hip hop. So, since you are the first person, I am going to say peace, Jaman. And I'll say peace to people as we pile in here. Let me get a little bit of water. Yeah. Um. Okay, man, it's been such a ride these last couple of days, right? Like just so much. Wowzers. I will say though, that I'm actually really glad that so many people are, what's the way I'm going to put this, seeing the ways in which things that were done in the past, like that's not the way to go, and that more people are able to like speak up, because as we come in, I'm gonna say peace to everyone as we're coming in. Um, Peace, everyone. Peace, whole Black Power Media family, comrades, supporters, constituents. Um, And I want to say peace to the chat that's always in here. Black Power Media chat is amazing. Appreciate y'all a lot. Um, Come on in, come on in, come on in. Hit that like, share, subscribe. If you go to the description of this video, you'll see there's a book there. If you go to some of the older episodes previously, you'll be able to see the breakdown of at least some of my thoughts around how we were working to build this women in hip hop movement, specifically here in Detroit. Um, so peace, y'all. Peace, everybody. Peace to the whole chat. So yeah, you know what's interesting? Okay, I'll start here. I was just naming that I'm very pleased, I would say, that more and more people are able to speak up in opposition to a lot of things that they weren't in the past, right? Um, and I think why I'm pleased is because it feels like those of us who have been screaming from the rafters, but it feels like tirelessly and alone, that we now have like reinforcements, or we have like validation. I shouldn't say validation, but we have like more people that get it, that get like what's wrong with the ways in which things had been done. I mean, part of the whole reason that I even, you know, wanted to do media, any kind of media, photography or any of it, was to bring something that I didn't see. And so whether that was uh more people that look like me, or more people that, I should say, believe like me or thought like me, to be honest. Um and that is like my life's work has been dedicated, to that. I'm just saying that because that just, as people don't really know me, that kind of just gives a little framework when I start speaking about things. I will say that over the last, however, since the 90s, I had, if you go back, there's an interview with myself and Dr. Jared Ball where, I kind of talk about some of my experiences, just a tad. I didn't go too detail, but I'll say this about that. In the 90s, um, in early 2000s, I was a professional fashion photographer in New York City and also, quote unquote, like on the scene. And someone very close to me uh, worked in a certain camp, and that camp was very prominent at the time, and they were, uh, the bad boy camp, the whole thing, and so they were front row to a lot of the shenanigans. Um, and so with that, unfortunately, um, while this person was on tour, they would share a lot of the shenanigans because they were completely traumatized and, in a really frustrating place for themselves because this is how they were making their money. And Peace Yipper 99. And this is a part of when we look at the media industries, like the mainstream or the, so-called like, yeah, like your mainstream. I mean, when I say media, let me give my definition of media. I'm talking about any sort of entertainment outlet. So even if it's dance, um, or magazines or television or all the things. Peace, Quaker Anarchist. Um, yeah, like, in that, I wouldn't even say like in that time. I'll say we're always having conversations over here about like how people negotiate, as Coco would say, the contradictions. And the contradictions of being an anti-capitalist and having to contend with capitalism in whatever ways we contend and negotiate capitalism, right? And so, um, while there are varying, degrees of what that looks like on all around, I can speak to my personal experiences, and I can speak to experiences that others that were in that world at that time shared with me. And so again, I'll just repeat myself because we're live, and for those coming in, without getting too specific and naming names, I will say that I was very close to a person who was in the bad boy camp, right? And what I mean by that is they were um, a person who made their living in the industry, right? Well, we both made our living in the industry. I was in the fashion world, and in the early 90s and going, more into the 2000s, but not the early 90s, sorry, the late 90s, the mid 90s to late 90s to like early 2000s. I would say that, um, those worlds were separate, honestly, and so for me, I was what you would call like slumming to hang around like music industry people because I was in fashion. It's a very like elitist sort of world. But was like I said, this person, I was very close to, and so had the misfortune of having to support this person. Glad that I was able to support this person, but um, unfortunately, this person was traumatized by a lot of what they were seeing and experiencing up close. And I will say that they were on a lot of the tours. They were on all the tours. And I said they were working, right? So with that, like I said, I got a chance to hear a lot of things. So all of these allegations are, what's the best way to say that on YouTube? I'll say they apparently they were. I would say they were said before, by not only that person but other people that were in the camp that at that time that, yeah, that I knew slash know. And so I'm sure by this time it's been a few days. Everyone has seen a lot of the videos, have gone through the whole timeline and all that. I can say that I lived in that world, adjacent to that world, like I said, because I was in fashion and at the time it was separate and hip hop was trying to get into that world. I will say that because of a lot of my relationships that I had in fashion at that time, I was one of those behind the scenes people who supported the music industry, the people who were styling in the music industry, because those worlds were separate and they didn't want black people wearing their clothes and they didn't want hip hop people wearing their clothes. I was one of those people who had showroom relationships and did support the stylists, the hip hop stylists, to get a lot of clothes. And so that was one thing. At that time, I thought I was doing some sort of justice, because I was like, oh, more black people and representation, whatever. I was in a different space, um, but yeah. So I'll say that to say that they had front row seat to a lot of things. Um, and I'll say that the like surviving R. Kelly thing was like way late and barely anything like came out, to be honest. And if I don't know, I haven't really seen, but if that guy that's locked up named R. Kelly were to start spilling the beans, you know, if I'm interested because, and we're all thinking the same thing. Shouts out to Cassie for stepping up and having the courage to step up, because that's very scary. The level of power that she's contending with, the people that are in the industry now um, are afraid to like really, really, like the most they could do is say, "Oh, I'm glad for you to like, that you had the courage," right? Because you're talking about like no one is innocent. Let's just say that there's a lot of bodies gonna get burned. Uh, if that if that case would have gone to court, man. And the thing is, even what was shared was probably like just barely the tip of the iceberg. Trust and believe. And that's just based on um recantations from people that I'm recalling in this moment, other stories of things. And so I think uh there's so much that I want to say. And I know we're on, if this was like our own media and there was no like threat that like anything could get threatened, I would say way more. But I'm saying it as much as I can say it. So I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. Yeah. But I just gotta send Cassie like so much respect. And also too, you know, um, to be honest, I would venture that maybe, and this is total speculation, but I would venture that she possibly would have been, well, let me not say, I'm not going to say my speculation because I don't want to say speculative things on this platform. I'll save that for like face to face conversations. But let's just say that we're going to continue to have the conversations about how we build our own ecosystem so that we can actually support ourselves, our own artists, and find ways that our artists can make a living doing the arts. Now, there's a whole nother layer to this, which is we're talking about power and control and all of that. There's a whole nother layer of capitalism and excess and consumption that is baked also into this. And what I mean by that is there are ways that people can make it outside of this matrix. And it's not going to pay as much. And it's not going to allow folks to be buying diamonds and furs and multiple cars and all that kind of thing. It will allow you to pay your college tuition. It will allow you to own a house, take care of your kids, go to the dentist and doctor regularly, keep your upkeep and your maintenance, and hopefully have a decent savings, right? And buy some land, right? So there's also like that part of just the larger conversation, right, around not needing this system at all. And there's varying degrees of people who agree or disagree with all of that. But I part of the reason I even began my organization is to have a way to support women identified people who would want to have a hip hop career and don't want to have to go through that sort of pipeline, right? No, you know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily the most glamorous. It's a lot of work. It's whatever. But I just am a firm believer that, yeah, we've, number one, while we're working to dismantle the system, we also have to have, alternatives, or we have to have ways that we're building and feeding for ourselves, like Black Power Media, right? Is an example. And at the same time, it's not like either or, right? Like, it is very necessary that we be able to support people when they come out, that we be able to, when I say come out, like when they are brave enough to talk about what has happened to them, like we've got to stand 10 toes down and support those people, because it's definitely not easy, or else more folks would do it, trust and believe. And even now, all the stuff that's come out, right? Allegedly, like you say, Yipper 99, of all the stuff that we've read, um, uh, well, you know what? And who knows what's going on? Because this is the hard conversation as an abolitionist as well. We keep saying this. What do we do with these Negroes? That's where we gotta. And it's not about like punishment or any of that. And at the same time, it's like people are caused like so much trauma and real harms. And um like how do we support folks better? I don't know. These are questions that we I would like for us to get to. We talk about them a lot, but I would like us to really work on that more. So I'm gonna say peace to Marley, Global Sisters Media. Yeah, I mean, let's just say this. There have been a lot of stories that have gone all the way back to the beginning, even before Bad Boy. So I would say if you're interested, you probably have already gone down that rabbit hole if you care, if you don't care. But and it's and it's the same thing like with the R. Kelly thing. Like there's like a sea, an ocean of people, processes, you know, that hold this whole thing in place, right? So the very reason that a predator with that much power can hold power is because they hold power, because their power is solidified and supported and uplifted, right? So, like for instance, the person that has less power, right, will more or less not be able to I'm gonna say like get away with the things that a person that has more. And when I say power, I don't mean like our actual power like we're talking about. I mean um societal power, or like this constructed power of dominance and control, the larger society of the trifecta of capitalism, white supremacy, racism, that whole triangle. And um yeah, I mean, on one level we can have the conversation about us trying to mirror the oppressor and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that's all real. And at the same time, I think that those conversations are good for like the mainstream and the outward facing community. I would love for us to have more conversations intra community about like how we contend with all of this. Let me tell y'all a story and then I'm gonna get into the article. So, oh, peace Zinzabel, peace Yama, peace Pancho. So, I think I said Global Sisters Media. Yeah. So, there was or is a young person um who I'm in Detroit. So there is a young person who there was this open letter written about. He's a male, uh he identifies as a black male man, and he's like a millennial Gen Z age in this moment right now. There was an open letter that was written about him. Now, my from my like this letter is like mad pages. I can't even count. It might be 100 pages. I'm not sure. Long letter detailing all the ways in which this man had sexually assaulted multiple women, right? Black women, Latinx women, Arab women, indigenous women, mad women, right? Not only that, it also named how he was undermining the movement, gossiping about people, bringing down orgs. Now, mind you, it's like a couple hundred people signed this letter. They had they had like one section to where it was like, now mind you, I'm telling you, they detail all this stuff, right? So the first section was like, sign here if you personally have experienced harm from this cat. There was another section that was like, sign here if you haven't personally experienced harm, but you support the people that are in this letter who have. There were 10, I'm going to call them letter writers. And the 10 letter writers were all identified as women, different ethnic, racial, cultural backgrounds that, said they experienced this harm. And it was everything from inappropriate texting. Now, mind you, we all do justice and we all, I guess, are professional activists or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Like we're doing environmental justice or this, we had various coalitions and different things. So people are at this work in different ways, right? But let's just say that this person had been employed in several different organizations, right? And I'm talking about like BYP 100, No New Jails Coalition. Man, I'm trying to think about the coalition. There was a environmental justice coalition called Frontline Detroit. There's just mad coalitions and alliances. Peace, Elon. And this person had been involved in like all of that, right? Okay, boom. So during an open, so what happened is I have a movement home. My movement home was this environmental justice organization, this Black led environmental and climate justice organization. I walked away from my movement home. I'm still mourning this. It's still fresh for me because all of this happened in 2022. Yeah, all this happened just a year ago. Wow. So all this still fresh for me. I walked away from my movement home, which I did not want to do. This is a place that, like, all the places where I've been all over the world in mad protests, this is the org that I was repping, like throwing down for, right? And so, I put my life on the line, you know what I'm saying? And so for me to walk away from my movement home, that's huge for me. You know what I'm saying? It's still painful and I still don't have a movement home. I mean, maybe Black Power Media is my movement home in this moment. Maybe, but but this is my movement home, where I had all my training, where, like I said, I'm sitting in different seats of, you know, decision making, repping this org, all that, right? So I'm saying that to say that during the time that this person had this letter written about them, they had become the executive director. They had just become the executive director of my movement home, right? And I'll be honest, I did go to the leadership like, yo, I don't know, that's a good idea. This before the letter. This before, I don't know the letter exists. I'm just my own experiences. Let me say this about that. Everything I wrote about this dude in the letter, minus the like sexual assault, I experienced from him. The inappropriate texting, and then when you say like, yo, you know, don't text me after 10 o'clock because it's disrespectful, like whatever it is, like this is my rules, right? Don't text me after 10 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to talk to me, we'll talk in the daytime. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm home now, I'm doing home stuff, right? Oh, your man got you on a leash. It's like, you know what? None of your business, buddy. Like, like, why are you asking me questions like that? You know what I'm saying? So I experienced that, right? And I'm like, I could be this dude's mom. Like, that's the age difference, right? Um, drunk texting, you know, trying, and it's like, yo, stop, you know, and then the like ridicule when you say to stop, like that type of stuff, right? Even the like dude accusing people, like another divisive thing he was doing was like accusing people of being like an agent, you an agent, you an agent. And it's like he was calling people agents because he was trying to cause divisiveness. He had come to me and talked about an elder, a SNCC elder of mine, who I knew mad long decades before him, talking about she don't trust you, she don't like you. I'm like, bro, like that's not even like you mad problematic is what I'm saying. Mad list. And I'm telling you, all this stuff was kind of like detailed. I sent the letter to Tandaziswe, and Tandy was like, damn. But very detailed, like I said, multiple page letter. The the people in the community, right, that wrote this letter were hoping that the elders would oh, it's the stream cutting in and out, Marley. Do y'all experience the stream cutting in and out? Let me close some windows then if the stream is cutting in and out. I had a lot of little references here, but I will do that and I will close this and then I'll finish my story because I want to make sure that y'all can hear me clearly. And thanks for that, Marley. I hope y'all can hear me, hear me, hear me. I'm going to close these windows. I hope I don't lose y'all when I'm closing windows. Just trying to make sure that let me see, close that. Close that. There's so, oh, I don't want to close that one though. Close. Oh, I don't really want to close that one, but you know what? I'm gonna close it anyway. And thanks y'all for being patient. Let me close that. And close this one. And I'm gonna do that. And okay, I'm hoping that that would do it. No. No, no, no. Let me close this one. Thanks y'all for being patient. I'm trying to close all these. Oh Lord. There we go. Boom. All right, close this. Boom. All right, let's see. Is that better? It's good? It's a bit of a lag. Okay. All right. So it's better. All right. So let me close this here as well. That might help. Let's close that one. I hope this is better. Okay. Is that a little better? Right. So okay, so Okay, but okay, perfect now. Okay, boom. So the young person, like I said, they had only been on the job like that was the same year. So imagine they get hired like I don't know January, February, and then like the letter gets released like August, and then all hell breaks loose. So when the letter, and thank you, Marley. So and everybody, and peace Zenzabel. Um, so the letter, uh, you know, people in so oh my god, so much to say. Just like how people blame like the victim, people were blaming the women for writing the letter. They were like, "Oh, you destroyed the community because y'all wrote this letter about the young man and he was so brilliant and he needs to be protected." Mind you, they wrote in the letter how they had gone to the elders and had asked for a face-to-face sit down and were and multiple times at many intersections and were told by the elders that he's too brilliant because he's in that age group of like the millennial Gen Z. He's like 32 right now. So what is he? Millennial Gen Z. So they were like, "Oh, he's too brilliant. The white man trying to tear the black man down, all this stuff, right?" And my thing is like, this dude's behavior is mad destructive. And all these people, there were at least 10 letter writers who said that all this stuff happened. Now, I will say this about that. I did not sign the letter, but the reason I didn't sign the letter was more out of principle. However, I publicly spoke up. The only reason I didn't sign the letter is because there were some internal tensions between one of the main leaders of the the process to write this letter. This is where the movement gets hairy scary, y'all. So there had been history at my movement home of because my ex movement home was literally the only environmental black led environmental and climate justice space in Detroit, the blackest city that you ever could imagine. And what I mean by that is not that no one else is doing anything, it's just that in our movement in Detroit, um there's there's a few there's a few black women led organizations who concentrate on water justice, like water amnesty, water affordability, and all of that. There's organizations that concentrate on energy, right? So black woman led, so like solar and other forms of energy and resisting against DTE, which is our monopoly energy company. There's another org that's not black led but grassroots led that concentrates on clean air. For many years, the people at my org, myself, our youth, like generations, like 20 years, we fought against um, having an incinerator, and finally got the incinerator shut down. Even though there was 20 years of research, the incinerator only got shut down because obviously they want to gentrify the neighborhood so white folks could breathe. Now they got to shut the incinerator down. But 20 years, they were able to shut it down because of the 20 years of research that our organization did. So people that came before me and even through me. So and our youth. So a lot of this work is black woman led. Um, you know, anyway, there are organizations that are like issue based, right? But my movement home, what I really appreciated about my movement home, it was black led, and it was the intersection of all the issues, and we had the space. And so people could converge on the space because it was centrally located. And when I lost, when let me not say lost, when I was violently removed from my space, the space I told y'all that I used to own, my building, the executive director of my old movement home, because I was already in movement, like doing stuff with them, even though I had my own space. Because I had been volunteering and so involved there as well, she was like, you could just bring what you're doing here. So that's where I brought all the work and everything too. And that's where I was doing it for a while until we imploded. Anyway, that's I told y'all those stories. But I'm saying that to say that this young man was like, even before all the stuff in Detroit, he was doing stuff in Chicago. So the letter comes out detailing all the ways in which he was like dismantling organizations, like misrepresenting, lying, like causing confusion, like all this. He's the one accusing people of being COINTELPRO. He the one acting like COINTELPRO. That classic, like if I looked it up, I'm like, I might see that dude. He was doing all that stuff. And if you look around, every place where there's like Killmonger, every place where this dude step, those coalitions don't exist anymore. He ruined the Detroit chapter of Black Youth Project 100, BYP 100, ruined the No New Jails Coalition. You know how bad we need that coalition? Resisting against the new jail getting built and how that work got halted, destroyed the Black led United Front of the environmental and climate justice movement here to where it's back to being fragmented. I mean, total Killmonger, this dude. You feel me? And the letter literally was written by the younger generation folks that were like, something got to be done. But let me go back to tell you why I didn't sign the letter. Because historically, this before the dude got there, whatever, my movement home, when we got, there was a new executive director that had come in, it was an elder. There was some non-Black people who will say maybe want to control the movement, right? And so to do that, they've been trying to bring down the movement home. So they had been going to funders, and it was a whole targeted effort to take power away from grassroots Black folks and move it to non-Black folks, right? Which is kind of sort of how it looks right now, right? So there was a lot of disrespect all around, like words tousled here and there, like people, doing shisty stuff, like going to get grants taken away from. It's terrible. So I, for that reason, I didn't sign that letter because my thing was a second thing was principally I didn't like the process to the way that they did the letter, because what happened, even though everything in the letter was true, they hadn't done what I would consider to be an accountable process. And that is, you ask people and organizations if they want to be named before you just put them in a letter and then send it to the world. And what they did, they sent that letter to people, to all the funders. They sent that letter to the entire community. They posted on Twitter. So it's going out to the world. I'm big on consent. It's one, if somebody come to you and tell you that something happened, like, you don't, and I don't care. The consent part of me is like, yo, only if you have that person's consent to share their name. Now, you might share that this thing happened, but to share their name, that shows a lack of integrity, right? Like, to me. And what the letter writers had done, and I'm going to blame their youth. I'm going to make positive assumptions that they wasn't trying to do harm. Maybe that's naive. I don't know. But they named all these organizations. They had not spoken to one organization to get their um, buy-in as to did they want to be named in the letter. So to me, I didn't sign the letter because it was disingenuous to me, because when I spoke to my elders that were named in there, they were like, yo, I got blindsided. I didn't know my name was in that letter. Yeah, we had been trying to figure out how to do things, but them putting it in the letter is like forcing our hand. And for me, it's like, the people who wrote the letter, a lot of them are non-Black. And I did have, because they are millennial Gen Z people that wrote it, and some of them do look up to me. And so they were like, yo, because initially, because I was at that movement home, they sent that letter. But I never had a position of power at there, right? Like an official position of power. I've been a volunteer for like 15 years or something, but I was like a full-time volunteer and 10 toes down. But I hadn't actually, like, I didn't have like a I guess I was like helping lead the youth, so I was training their youth in resistance and things like that. But yeah, I wasn't like a decision maker. So initially, I got the letter because they sent the letter to me because they thought, I guess, because Bobby, when I do something, I do's it. But they had sent the letter to me, the current executive director, and the previous executive director, as if like this was like the decision making body. So I called the person that I'm cool with and I was like, yo, why'd you send that letter to me? I don't have power to like hire and fire. Like that doesn't make sense. And they were like, oh, well, we knew you could get it to the right people. And I'm like, but that's not the like process wise, you don't bang on a person that can't move nothing. That is strategically, you know, impotent. You know what I'm saying? It's like you bang on people that can move things, not like someone that can't even move. Like I couldn't hire him or fire him. That's up to the, elders there. No, I did forward it to the people, but basically they had sent it to the executive to the sorry, they sent it to the head of the board. So that was the proper place it should have gone. So I um I didn't like that. Like I didn't like that they did that. And I told them, why didn't y'all before y'all pulled the trigger, why didn't y'all know who your targets were and be specific about your target? Why didn't y'all um like get the permission of people before putting their name in an official document that goes everywhere because all of their funders are going to see it, everyone's going to see it. You don't know if that person is comfortable with being named that this happened, you know? Um, and anyway, there was all the things, right? And so, so basically, so that happened. So that was the only reason I signed the letter. However, I did go to the org and say, look, I'm not coming back until y'all sit him down. And they were like, yeah, so what? We're not sitting him down. We sending 10 toes down. This the white man trying to the black man down. And my thing is like, did you see that 10 people wrote the letter? Couple hundred signed it saying that something happened to them. And the other couple of hundred people signed it saying that even though it didn't happen to them, they support these people, right? And this elder was like, I don't care, because they were an original SNCC freedom rider. And they were like, I don't care. These people are young. No one knows who they are. They'd only been in the movement a minute. I don't believe them. Why would you? That they were looking at it more like as on some like disgruntled love affair. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, he told us that it was like unrequited love, like when he like they were in some consensual thing and then it went south. And I was like, nah, come on now. But how many people got Tandy's book, Tandy Sway book? Some of us are brave. Have y'all started reading that book? Man, I had to call Tandy, like, I'm having these same experiences, yo. And that's why I sent her the letter. But any hootie Rudy Tootie, I'm saying that to say that I am still traumatized because while yeah, it's crappy that like he was in the spaces like doing all the dismantling. What I find extra more crappy is that here's our elders and we're the young people had gone to them, which is what we say we want, to be like, yo, what y'all gonna do about that? Oh, also too, in the letter they named that even though there was like the R word and sexual assault and all that name, they said we're abolitionists and we're not trying to go to the police. And so I was like, wow, so they're not even trying to like involve police. They want to find a way to like actually hold the dude accountable. And like, what does that look like as community for us to do that together? This is what we say we want, right? So what happens is series of well, not a series, couple of meetings happen, and the young people walk away. Young people, I'm saying they're like in their 20s and 30s. They walk away like, we don't trust you, to the elders, right? Like, we don't trust you to handle this in a way, because the elders were saying like, there's no, I need to see some evidence. Y'all need to come here. They wanted them to come recount like what had happened to them. They wanted to hear the details. They said we need to like weigh whether it's true or not. And so many problems about all of that. So I guess I'm just saying that to say that, like, I would love for us to figure out like how we hold our own accountable. Because still to this day, you know what happened? The movement home is destroyed. Most of those coalitions are destroyed. Like, everyone's like quasi afraid to talk about it. It's like a thing people can't talk about. It feels mad uncomfortable. The elders like split from the young people. This like the coalitions that we built are like dismantled. Like, and some of the young people have even moved away from Detroit. They're like, they were so traumatized. They're like, I don't even want to be there. So, and we still don't have like a proper process to deal with conflict in our community in a great way. You know what I'm saying? And especially conflict when it comes to holding, you know, offenders, and I mean, that's not the right term, but people who have committed acts against people that have traumatized them, right? Like, we don't even have a way to like hold these people accountable. Like, the people that this has happened to don't even have a way to like, you know, see that however, they want to be in community is not the right word, but however how they wanted to deal with, like, we just don't have that mechanism, right? And the rhetoric on the street, like according to the elders, is like that letter ruined our community. But to me, the letter didn't ruin our community. To me, it was the terrible response to what happened. Right? We're here in 2023. Like, you mean to tell me we still like protecting people because of some strange need to have representation? Any hootie Rudy Tootie. I wanted to bring it back because I know here in Black Power Media, people get traumatized when we just talk about celebrity. Um, and I think, yeah, like just bringing it back to a community level, like we got to contend with a lot of the stuff within our own community. So while we're still banging on the state, and while we're still, you know, working to see what is, true abolition, let's be honest, there are people out here causing harm, like real harm, and there are people who are traumatized by it, and we still haven't like found ways to like, shoot, I'm gonna say deal with it, but that's like such an inadequate, insufficient way to say it, but that's a wrap up term. So yeah, I'm hoping that we could dig more deeply into like what that looks like. I know that as an abolitionist, that's like such a taboo. That's such a taboo conversation, because it like at least in my experience, every time you start going down that hole, people say, wait, but we gotta dismantle this and that, and that's where we gotta focus. But I just think that there's some holes, right? Was that some holes in the bucket there, Eliza? You know what I'm saying? There's some holes in the bucket, and our people are the ones that are getting harmed because we haven't figured out how to, you know what I'm saying, fix those broken pieces. But any hootie Rudy Tootie, I just wanted to share that with y'all. You can run it back to see what I was talking about your boy. But I do think that um narrowly naming celebrity and all that kind of thing is not really um the conversation that y'all want to have here at Black Power Media. You know what I'm saying? I think that the conversation is more about how are we in the Black left gonna move more left in a healthier way for ourselves, for our communities, together as a united front. And I think a lot of times that the celebrity conversation is a way to like draw others in, like, the regular folks or whatever. But I didn't want to traumatize y'all by, sticking on that for that long. But any hootie Rudy Tootie, that's, I probably didn't say much, but it probably said too much at the same time. So yeah, right, Zanzibar. So I want to get into this conversation here. I don't know if y'all were here um, last week, but I'll just quickly go over. We read the abstract. So this was an article, Rap Music Literacy, a case study of Millennial Audience Reception to Rap Lyrics Depicting Independent Women. And it's by Mia Moody-Ramirez. She's a faculty member at Baylor University. It says that it was also, I believe, co-written by Lakia Scott. I'm gonna have to reach out to her and ask her. But basically, last week what we did was look at their methodology for this paper, and also, you know, uh, like, so we went through her theoretical framework that she was saying she's using and please don't get triggered, but I'm gonna say, like, she's saying that she's combining critical race theory and Black feminist theory, and then we kind of went through to see like what she's talking about when she says Black feminist theory, because like I said, there's we're not just a thing. We're not just like, okay, this is Black feminist. We're so varied. Even if we're like right next to each other, right? You know what I'm saying? So just honoring that. Um, and I was saying how, for me, the article, some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. It has, in places, I feel like audience wise, she is reaching a more mainstream audience. And so, um, you know, there's that. And then she was talking about using a feminist theory and an intersectional approach. Um, and then we looked at, like, what the samples were, like the songs that they used as samples, because they did more like a practice based approach to this. So they had people listen to songs, and I think they had different Black women and white men and white women, and you know did we see Black, yeah, and Black men uh listen to these various music samples, and then they sort of gave um like uh they were able to give us like their interpretation of like how people were like receiving the lyrics, right? We talked about rap music in children and how it shapes their thinking. And so, just to remind you of, so they gave them uh 4 music videos to watch on independence. Again, this article is a bit older. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 2011, 2010, around there. So about a decade ago. So they use Independent by Little Webby from 2007, Five Star Chick or Five Star Bitch by Yo Gotti 2009, Independent Bitches by Candy Red featuring Rashida and Candy in 2010, and Independent by Roxanne Shante from 1990. Um, then they talked about how the students themselves were defining independence. Uh, I'll recap this. So they were saying that the first research question asked how participants personally defined independence at the beginning of the study. And at the beginning of the study, many participants stated that they associated independence to finances, freedom, experience, and decision-making abilities. And so, yeah, so they were naming like how all this was sort of landing on them. And then I think we kind of stopped here, uh, where we talked about the feminist theory and rap music. So the second research question asked about the participants' perception of feminism and rap music. Many of the students noted that because the videos play a major influence on popular culture, they have a chance to make an impact on the feminist movement. However, one student noted that this influence may not be entirely positive, as both male and female rap artists often rap about independence as it relates to materialism, sexuality, beauty, and other factors. She said this may help women women push to seek success, but they will define them based on the terms they hear in rap lyrics, which means they are still aiming to please men. She said they're still following guidelines and stipulations set by men, which is not feminism. More than half of the participants agreed that music icons had not really furthered the ideals and purposes of feminism, but instead channeled female expression through increased sexual identities. Many students asserted that for women, feminism is more keenly defined as sex than financial independence. They noted that one indication of feminist ideals are not encouraged in the music industry is artists usually take on alter egos when they want to portray a different side of their personality, particularly one that is sexual in nature, in an effort to portray their own sexually dominant inhibitions. Highlighting artists such as Nicki Minaj and Rihanna, several of the female students affirmed that these women were not furthering the feminist movement, but instead making it a case for the need to hide behind a mask when making a bold statement or behaving unladylike. This need to behave ladylike on one hand while behaving badly is an effort in part to remain attractive to a man, they noted. A female stated that independence is associated with a woman's ability to secure a relationship with a man while also asserting power of the relationship. Another female student added that in rap music, independence for women is limited. In this way, women are always disposable, replaceable, and only in positions to serve men, which illustrates the rider stereotype discussed in the introduction. So before I move on, I'm going to go back over here to the chat. Um, oh, peace, Joshua. Oh, drop the link. Okay, boom. Oh wait, do y'all have a subscription to academic? Let me see. I think I. Let me see. Let me know if y'all can go here and see that. You may have to um subscribe. Let me know if y'all are able to look at that. I'll be getting these. I'll be putting in these keywords, academia reading papers that are very interesting to me. Are y'all able to access that? Perhaps. If not, well, let me know if you are. I'm gonna go back over here. So now she's talking about the tenets of intersectionality, demonstrating the importance of using the tenets of intersectionality in studies. The subjects in our studies were often divided based on gender and race. Participants shared how independence is expressed through sexuality and rap music. Some students expressed that this was liberating for women, while others thought rappers took it too far, and lyrics advocated sexually promiscuous lifestyles for men and women. A Black female student offered this matter of fact assessment of the lyrics. Female rappers have changed the perception of you have to be married to have sex. They say, I can have any man in this club. To I don't need to be this single, pure person. I can be anything I want to be. In this way, she demonstrates how female rappers assert their power over sexual freedom. In reflecting on her own experiences, she says, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm a hoe and it is fine. Society says it's okay. I can even take on a girl partner if I want. Different rappers are bisexual. This quote exemplifies the influence of rap music has on female perspectives on sexuality and sexual identities. Another Black female student stated that even talented women have to use sex to sell their music. Women in the hip hop world are encouraged to dress and behave in a certain way that is appealing to men. For instance, Little Kim wanted to rap how her feelings about her feelings, but Biggie Small told her she needed to be sexy and rap about sexy stuff. However, he added that sexual independence in rap music is not about the woman being sexually independent for herself. She is doing it for her man. Female rappers do not practice what they preach. So now they go into double standards of images and beauty. Participants also highlighted the double standard in the music industry. They mentioned women are expected to look physically appealing at all times. However, this is not a requirement for male artists. One male student stated Biggie Smalls was overweight, Tupac was muscular. They both had a lot of women. Women are defined by aesthetics, and male rappers are defined by the women they have in their possessions, such as cars. These statements illuminate the idea that materialism is heavily depicted in rap music lyrics and the overall lifestyle associated with hip hop. Conversely, colorism or discrimination based on skin color and physical attractiveness are common in representations of women. In Yo Gotti's 2009 Five-Star Bitch, directed by Rick Cordero, contains images of beautiful women. The main character in the video has smooth, light brown skin accented by long, wavy hair. Yo Gotti 2009 refers to her as a yellow bone, which is slang for a light skinned black woman. One prominent subcategory of this theme was the idea that if you aren't pretty, you are nobody. One student noted they changed Beyonce's skin color and made her lighter. Women must wear weave and makeup to be considered pretty. In agreement, another student stated that the lyrics highlight the importance of getting one's hair done, nails done. In other words, the overall message of these lyrics, the participants agreed, is if one is independent, he or she must be well groomed and pampered at all times. Designer clothing also define independence, one student elaborated. One way I can tell if you're independent is if your hair is done. You wear Versace, Prada, and Gucci. You can't come out looking relaxed. If you are relaxed in your attire, you are not independent, the student added. You can't wear old shoes, nappy hair. Women need to look nice when they go out. The artists show they are independent by being edgy on the red carpet. They dress differently. Hmm. Let me see what y'all say about that. I have a lot of thoughts. Let me go back here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so you got it. Um, yeah, peace breaking ground. Uh, and Joshua. Wait, what is the question? Zanzibar? Just trying to make sure I understand. They pump colorism so bad that we got right white. Oh my lord! It said they pump colorism so bad that we got white rappers feeling comfortable talking about yellow bones and light skinned women in this era, then copying off us and copying off them. Full circle. Wowzers. Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's go back over here. So now we're talking about, or they are talking about black male perceptions. To counteract the negative connotations of the rap industry, two black male participants shared positive interpretations of the video. They stated that many of the students who spoke negatively of the lyrics did not truly understand the nature of the music and the backgrounds of the artists. They offered counter readings to by discussing positive messages found in conscious rap music that traditionally focuses on violence, discrimination, and other societal disorders such as the oppression of women and commercialism. One African American, why did they say African American? One black male student who was particularly vocal about rap music shared the hip hop history, shared that, hip hop history has its own standards and norms that should not be evaluated based on those set by mainstream society. Yeah, I don't disagree with that necessarily. He scolded classmates for criticizing the content found in the rap lyrics, stating they could not relate. He stated, we need to keep rap music in context. Rappers have their own social reality. Their reality is different. They are shaping the world. They have lived their life they are speaking of in their videos. In this way, it is evident that participants realize that rap music communicates a set of standards that are necessary to become independent. despite of the cost of friends, family, or relationships. The researchers chose songs by both male and female rap artists, as respondents might have identified differently with lyrics by persons of a different gender. The researchers speculated that identification may influence their critical response. For instance, the male students might likely identify with lyrics and videos produced by male artists, while the same might be true for the female students. Now they go to perceptions of independence. The third research question asked how participants' views changed over the course of the semester. Initially, participants stated their views of independence did not change over the semester. They did not believe they were influenced by the lyrics. However, worth noting is they believe the lyrics have a possibility of influencing younger listeners. Participants stated the lens younger people develop from listening to rap music ultimately colors their perceptions about being ready and independent for a traditional worldview of having an education, a sound family structure, and a few varied life experiences. These factors can also influence the relationships they choose to subscribe to, albeit love, career, spirituality, family, etc. All of this stems from their self perceptions about how ready they are for the world. To bolster this claim, most comments centered on the same factors, such as the video's emphasis on materialism, misogyny, and the objectification of women. Almost all the participants agreed that materialism was a prominent theme in the videos. One student stated, independence in these videos is based on finances. Little Webby states, you got your own house, your own car, 2 jobs, work hard. This means she is financially stable. One student agreed by mentioning that the lyrics highlight the idea that financial independence is strictly based on finances and not needing a man. Another student added that in all of the videos, there is an overemphasis on material independence and many rags to riches stories. He stated that this theme is common in other songs, such as Drake's "Started from the Bottom" and "Now We're Here." The idea that women should be superhuman was also a common theme. So, you know what? I just realized that I hadn't done the present like I did the last time. So let me put on present. I'm gonna do this one and share my screen. Um, Webby's 2007 rendition, Independent, speaks of his ideal mate as a college graduate who is financially stable, has a perfect credit score, and is a churchgoer and school teacher. See the following for an excerpt of the lyrics, Webby 2007. Independent, do you know what that mean? Baby fat just relaxed. Front your own flat screen. Fat folks cook or clean. Data make a scene. When you're calling on her cellular, she tells you she needs not a goddamn thing. Participants noted that there was a sub theme of men and women being alienated in order to pursue their goals and dreams. They noted there were not many examples of men and women forming healthy relationships in videos. One student noted this is problematic because as humans, we are meant to build relationships and learn how to interact with others. I think a sense of self worth is more important than a desire to be completely independent from another person. The viewpoint extended to relationships in general. One male student stated, there is an emphasis on men being able to survive without friends. He added, they must be capable of surviving without anyone else. A female student elaborated further to note, men want to appear as if they don't need anything or anyone. They don't need women. They just use women for sex, but they don't need them. Men and women don't need each other. Being thirsty is showing someone you like them or care about them. Hip hop is telling you not to show love to anyone. You are treating them with too much respect if you show you love them. One student summarized her feelings by mentioning that rap music is a reflection of the millennial generation and culture. She stated, that many college students are not willing to commit to a long term relationship that may lead to marriage. If I get married, that changes my life, and I don't want that. Female rappers have decided they want more out of life than marriage. They also want a career. After reviewing these general themes in rap videos depicting independence, many students agreed that music can be used to change people's views of the topic. For instance, a student noted rap music has the potential to have a positive influence on the feminist movement, not because rap music is virtuous and wise, but because it calls to attention to the problems of society and particularly in the Black community. It has the potential to call attention to current social problems, which will encourage some people to focus on fixing them. Another student said lyrics like poetry can lead the listener to challenge their personal thoughts and views. Hearing someone else's definition or perspective on independence helps to shape or redefine or reinforce the listeners. I'm going to go back over here to like chat and see what um y'all are talking about. Um that's funny. Those Breaking Ground said they just remade the definition of independent and it was too much Charlie's Angels. Okay, so Zenzi said, I didn't have a question, I was just reacting to the statements in the paper. Like what? Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Um Let me see what else is there. Oh, right. Yeah, so yeah, the old Destiny Child song for the movie Independent. Right. Remember that y'all? That song. Was that for that was for the Charles Angels, right? Um that's funny. Um Okay, boom. I'm gonna go back over here. So now they have like these discussion points, right? Or the discussion. Yeah. So it says this study examined college students' perceptions of independence following the viewing of rap videos depicting images of rap lyrics. They discussed their definitions of the independent woman, reflecting on the study. Participants mainly associated independence with issues that related to their parents' relationships and finances. They later noted how one's race and gender might influence their view of rap music, which might determine if the genre of music has an impact on their lives. Black male students were particularly vocal on this stance. Based on participants' beginning definitions of independent, it is evident they situate and relate independence to their age group and level of parental involvement by asserting that independence is a certain type of freedom. Participants could be alluding to ideas, activities, and even perspectives that they might not have previously had or have or had. After viewing the videos, they noted that other people had many different perceptions of independence uh, that linked the term to sexuality, beauty, gender, and power. The students' new interpretation of independence has implications on their own ideas of self worth and value in mainstream society. They noted that many of the standards were different from the traditional idea of how one might go about gaining independence, which many of them described as graduating from high school and college, getting a job, leaving home, and living independently. The students noted that songs place higher demands on women than on men, focusing on getting one's hair and nails done, working out, wearing designer clothing, making love, etc. In order to be independent, women must be lighter, thinner, prettier, smarter, and better educated. Based on the information from these discussions, it appears these young adults were able to distinguish fact from fiction in rap lyrics. However, they still struggle with understanding social stratification in America. Specifically, the participants are en route to receiving a higher education degree, which will in some ways elevate their status, but instead, they are jaded to believe that this attained goal will not and has not contributed to them becoming independent. Both male and female participants agreed rap music is a reflection of the trends in the feminist movement, particularly as it relates to sexuality. Most of the participants who expressed their views on definitions of independence were female. The characteristics they mentioned addressed choices, accountability, decision making, finances, and self confidence, all of which could be contested topics in the struggle for women's rights and equality. Let me go back over here to the chat. Um, do, 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 do. What else is being said here? Just making sure I'm keeping up. Okay, boom. Then it talks about the limitations, right, with the study. So it says, as with any study, there are limitations associated with this study. Researchers used a convenient sample of college students registered in a course at a university. Therefore, the results may not be generalized to the mainstream population. The size of the focus group was another limitation. 7 to 10 participants is the optimal number that is suggested for collecting focus group data. However, the size of the focus group was predetermined as it was conducted in a pre existing course. Future studies might have fewer participants, which will allow for richer, thicker conversations. Students might also feel more aptly to discuss key topics and context as a result of fewer peers. Differences by race, gender should also be deeply considered within the context of rap music literacy studies. Though not analyzed through this combined lens, both factors have dire influences on the ways in which participants view notions of independence. Additionally, it is worth mentioning that white female participants were less vocal on the ways in which rap music influenced their definitions of independence than any other racial and gender demographic. Perhaps these participants were facing interpersonal struggles when conceptualizing the term through their own experiences in education. On the other hand, Black male and female students were assertive in their thinking about rap music as an agent of liberation and freedom for Black women, despite negative connotations about women and independence. These participants may be viewing rap music for its historical and contemporary contributions in promoting Black messages from people of color in mainstream society. That's a whole topic here on BPM. We should have like a whole BPM series on that. Student expectations, peer interactions, and the need to please the primary researcher may have also limited participants' expression in the context of the study. The PI isn't a Black woman who had no prior contact with study participants. Participation in the study was not mandatory and not connected to the students' final grades. Therefore, some students took the focus groups more seriously than others. Some participants were more candid in their discussions than others, and about half the participants opted to remain silent throughout the exercise, perhaps feeling that they had nothing to add to the discussion, perhaps because of their lack of familiarity with the songs, or just not really wanting to participate, as mentioned in earlier in the paper. Racial identity intersected with genre familiarity. All students were encouraged to participate, regardless of their familiarity with the videos in the sample. The PI showed the videos in class and provided the links to the videos to allow students to view them. Let me go back over here to the chat, see what y'all are rapping about. What would you say? So Jamon said, education is important, but I think there could be some debate on whether it leads to change in some class. Yeah, there's a whole debate. About it. Okay, yeah, we can debate about that. So implications for further research. Future studies might include a larger sample and skillfully weave constructivist tactics through the process. This was the second of 3 studies. The first study explored themes in rap music. This one introduced or reintroduced students to rap lyrics that contain messages about independence and to help students come up with their own definitions of independence. The researchers plan to develop more extensive programs for junior high school students, which will include formal tracking of their views before and after the intervention. Because of the nature of the lyrics, instructors will have to be carefully trained. A key component of constructivism is to give students ownership of the learning process and to serve as a guide on the side. In many instances, students will know more about rap lyrics and will therefore be better able to lead discussions on various representations. In this study, students suggested other videos that discussed representations of independence and facilitated discussions on the topic when one student tried to dominate the conversation. Also worth noting is not all participants responded to the use of rap lyrics to teach the concept of independence. Some subjects were silent, choosing not to participate in the discussion, while other students dominated the conversation. Race and gender as factors for how participants perceive independence and the influence of rap music on becoming independent should deeply be explored in the future. Facilitators must be comfortable with discussing the content of the videos. However, it is the opinion of the researchers that it does not matter if the instructor likes the rap genre. It is more important that he/she remains objective throughout the discussions to allow for critical conversations and mainstream media messages about independence. As aptly stated by Kumar in 2012, teacher educators will need practice and support to successfully integrate popular texts and culturally relevant strategies into their own instruction. The research also encourages additional research to investigate how these aims can be best achieved. Mm, there are a number of pedagogical strategies that could be effective for teaching students from varied racial backgrounds about concepts of independence. Teachers could look to the tenets of multicultural education and or diversity awareness practices that explore ways to encourage various perspectives in educational settings. Additionally, it will be practical for the teacher to also conduct research on the students' racial ethnic backgrounds in order to provide multiple contexts for understanding what it means to be independent within one's own culture. The teacher could also invite students to bring in their preferred genres of music to explore themselves of independence, their themes of independence. Allowing students to dialogue and deconstruct what independence means in various cultural contexts will increase their level of understanding about becoming independent while also advance their levels of critical inquiry about mass media messages. Despite the limitations of this study, filled an important gap in literature as discussed in the introduction. It is encouraged that scholars build on this article to develop curriculum that will enable young adults to become their own version of independent. I'm going to go back over here and I will say that is always a challenge in facilitation is how to get more voices in. I mean, that's just a general challenge like um no matter what, like I know when I do facilitation, I'm always trying to get as many voices in as possible. So it's not just like my voice. Um, and at the same time, like be respectful so that people, don't feel attacked, right? Or like put on the spot or whatever. It's a nice little dance. So then they go into like instructional practices for using rap music to explore independence. So in addition to viewing rap videos that focus on independence and writing in a journal to reflect on their experiences, other instructional practices for teaching independence using rap music might also include a combination of the following exercises. Instructors may use the songs and videos from our study as a springboard to begin critical discussions on independence and how one might achieve it. After watching rap videos, students may write their own rap lyrics that describe their vision of independence. Let them perform for them for their classmates. Students may role play what it means to them to be independent. Have them incorporate where they learn their definitions of independence. Students may be empowered to choose videos that include various representations of independence and present them to class. They may even be encouraged to develop a worksheet and lead a discussion on the topic. It is also suggested that students be divided into groups based on gender. Have them present skits featuring people in reverse gender roles. As this study has shown, a key area to explore in analyzing rap music concerns the different interpretations and opinions held by males and females. These exercises may help students explore messages of independence using rap music using a constructivist approach. It is important to begin the process with an assessment of students' prior knowledge of representations of independence in rap music and a discussion of where they acquired their knowledge of independence. One of the goals of constructivism is to help students become lifelong learners and better critical thinkers. This article may be used to help participants explore perceptions of independence, Black feminist theory, and independence in rap music as they hone their critical thinking skills. So they say this is an indication that this course was helpful. So they share an excerpt from the student's journal. This class hasn't changed my view of independence so much as it has sparked a care and concern for my views of women's independence. Before the instructor asked us what we believed it means to be independent, I had never really put thought to the idea. I just assumed that I was independent and that was that. I had always believed myself to be relatively independent. But the conversation allowed me the chance to reevaluate what that means and how people experience independence in different ways. Rap artists offer real insight on the importance of independence. Roxanne Shante was clearly a trailblazer when her song about independence was released 3 decades ago, or you know, 4 now, right? Yeah. Her version was clear cut and unwavering. Her definition of independence was clearly stated: women should not depend on a man. Since the 1980s, definitions of independence in rap music have taken on new meanings, often encompassing themes of materialism, colorism, and sexism. It is up to scholars and educators to help students deconstruct media messaging regarding independence in order for them to form healthy identities on what it means to be independent. And then, as you can see, these are, I'm going fast, but these are like, the list of references that they use. If you have and I will say, I do, is it up to scholars and educators? I think that's a role that scholars and educators can play. Saying it's up to them is a bit much. Um, but I just wanted to share. It's 9:30 on the dot. I just wanted to share that something I was reading with y'all. I do want to say that next week, let me see. I got a couple of shows planned for y'all, and I'm still working on getting some guests. But as you can see, it's pretty challenging to like book guests because people are busy, y'all. People are busy. Um, but still working on it. Still working on getting y'all some quality guests. Just working on their schedules. So next week we do have an interview, and we're gonna be talking about politics, right? With Dr. Dia. Also to I don't know if y'all saw the one about female cultural identity in the formative years of hip hop. Um yeah. So, oh yeah. Also too to that Zenzi, I reached out to ask if uh we can do, well, I not ask, but just talk about doing the reading group with Some of Us Are Brave. And so yeah, she's into it. So I know that she's supposed to be interviewed by, I think, Kalanji. And yeah, I want to reach out to her and see how she wants to do the reading group. But we need to do like a whole show about that book. That book is so, if y'all don't have Candace Eastway's book, Some of Us Are Brave, like go get it right now. Go get it right now. It's such a great, 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 great resource. She did these amazing interviews with women of the movement. And yeah, that's it. Just when the whole Puffy thing broke, I was like, Her book dropped at the right time. Oh, sorry, that's my marketing mind. But yeah. So this week, y'all have a great time with your family. I think I told y'all my it's interesting. My family is mixed, meaning so while I guess like a sliver, like one third of my family, which would be like the tree that I come from, my mom, my uncle, were more on the like Black liberation side of life. You know, my uncle was a communist. I told you he was part of forming League of Revolutionary Black Workers, Republic of North Africa. My mom identified very much as she wouldn't call herself a black feminist, but I would. But that was, so very much that. Then like I'm gonna say like my regular, black family, about a third of that, which is like Democrat, Christian, eat fried chicken, you know, go to church regularly, work 9 to 5, keep it pushing, right? That's another part. That's like my grandma and them and like many people in my family. And then there's that other part of my family that are black Republicans. Yes, and they've been Republican. And the reason they're Republican is because they say that black people have always been Republican. Do y'all have some of those? Yes. They have been registered Republicans for the longest time. They were like, black people are supposed to be, they belong to like the Thurgood Marshall, blah, 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 blah. And interestingly enough, yeah, they vote for Trump and the whole thing. And they say things like, I'm not gonna repeat the stuff they say, but just say they say atrocious things. That is like what? So historically, my mom and my uncles had been the ones like at our family gatherings, like holding on the fort, arguing with my uncle. You know what I'm saying? Right. And part of me is like, I'm just tired. Like, I don't want to do it. But I guess now that my mom and my uncle have moved on, rest their souls, and ascended, I'm like, is that my role now? Like, I gotta sit at the table and argue with my family about this stuff. I don't want to. Um, I don't know. I'm like, I'm just gonna go there and eat their food. No, but it's so interesting. But yeah, I've been trying recently like to not get into those arguments because I'm like, what's the point? Like, I'm just gonna be tired. We've been disagreeing. I'm 51. They've been disagreeing since before I was born. So what I'm gonna do is just keep arguing. Not really. Probably just hang out with my family and it's interesting. Sometimes the debates get real heated. But ever since like that generation, like my mom and uncles and stuff, like I don't know. I don't even want to like argue with my uncle's generation. You know what I'm saying? It just feels icky. I'd rather just I don't know, eat the food and go hang with my cousins or something and play pool. I don't know. Or spades or something or watch some old stupid ass movie. Um yeah, it's like and also too, you're right, Zenzi, because like also too, my uncle loves to debate. Like his whole thing is debating. Like he loves Colin Powell. This like has all his books, loves Condoleezza Rice. So his whole thing is, yeah, all into that. So I'm like, and my mom and my uncle used to be the ones there, like arguing and stuff. But I'm like, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like it turns into a whole thing. And I think my uncle gets like a lot of joy out of it. I think I'm gonna steal his joy and just be quiet. Talk about something mundane like Puffy. um, right? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And I know they're gonna be asking me a thought because I told y'all we was in that world. So when I get there, they're gonna be asking me 100 billion 50 11 questions about stuff. I might give them the tea, as long as nobody don't have their phone out. I get posted up somewhere, exposed. No, but we'll see. But yeah, it's supposedly the you said still enjoy is my piece. Oh man, that might be what my uncle be doing. I think yeah. So If y'all are going to see your family, here's lots of love and encouragement. Going to see your family, whether you get along or don't get along, whether you offer your job or not, just sending everybody some love. We continue in Free Palestine, right? Free Palestine. Um, in all the fronts. Uh, if you have capacity, went this weekend on Twitter. There was one of those Twitter spaces with Maurice, who's the executive director of Friends of the Congo. Amazing conversation about what's going on there. Also, too, I don't know if y'all are in the um, oh my god, what is it called? The People's Forum. I had signed up for their Black Liberation Revolutionary Summer School. Um, and so I'm in that like WhatsApp group, and it's really dynamic, just learning a lot about, Pan Africanism. As a Pan Africanist that grew up Pan Africanist, is like if you want to do the deep dive, deep, 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 bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah. It's awesome. Uh what else? I've been there's these Palestinian hip hop artists, these women that I've been um reaching out to for like 2 months, uh trying to get them to come on the platform. Um and so still working on that. So yeah, I really am striving to get them on the platform, talk about their music and what they've been doing. So those are just some things that are coming up, and still reaching out to other folks to get on the platform and interview. But I just want to give a shout out and appreciation to the entire Black Power Media family, everyone in the chat. Um, you said Global Sister Media said we didn't even claim him as a Jamaican, right? We gotta put that up there. Right? Right. So it's wild, y'all. But yeah, y'all have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. Take care of yourselves. As you can see, I'm staying hydrated. Got my hydration. Stay hydrated. You know what I'm saying? It's that season. Get your herbs in you. Get your sleep. That's what I'll say about that. And I'm gonna see y'all next week. All right. Peace.